we tried to handle a couple of those technical things, and I really would want to glance at my notes right now, but hold on one second. Why, like, I thought I was being so smart putting them in my phone here. Let's see, we talked about, okay, yes, we're recording this, so if you have personal things, save them for later. If we get cut off, Giselle's sending you that link, and then you can send a message to ask questions. And okay, here we go. There we go. Sit back on. Okay, so today I just want you guys to know you are going to hear some life-changing information. How many of you have ever known that you were supposed to do something and maybe you didn't do it?
Before you even finished.
Yeah, right. And then maybe you felt the consequences of that, or maybe you didn't even feel consequences, but you just didn't experience the growth that was possible. Or, it was just something you didn't even know, the blessings in store, the growth, like you didn't know you missed out because you just didn't do it. And then how many of you have known that you were supposed to do something and then you did it, and you were you were empowered, you were blessed, you were growing, and you saw that at that moment your life was changed? You guys all had a moment like that.
Sure.
So very few things can evoke as much change in our life as fasting. And it was like the #1 Googled term in 2018. I know a lot of people have heard of keto, and 2 years ago it was all paleo, right? Everybody's talking paleo, everyone's doing paleo, and now it's shifting into the keto, and now so much beautiful information is coming out about fasting. So our friend Pastor Pat Murray is going to be sharing with us here in just a few minutes, and he's going to tell us some of the spiritual benefits of fasting and how, like, when you are really looking for breakthrough in your life, fasting is a huge component of that. So how many of you guys would like to be a little healthier than you are today? And, okay, so I'm so glad you're here, because this, if you choose, this could be a turning point in your journey, and you could really get some breakthrough in your health, in your life, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And yeah, we're just so excited for you. So without further ado, this is Pastor Pat Murray, and he's pastor of the Dayton Living Word Church. It's the big place with the blue roof. Everybody knows about the blue roof. But I asked him to speak to you all today because he is just one of my top favorite humans in the world. And he just has such a heart for serving people and bringing truth. So it really is. It's all about bringing truth, because there are so much information in our culture, and we're bombarded, right, by this information. Excuse me. Hold on. A lot of talking, a lot of water. So the other thing is, I don't even believe that it's all about just feeling well. Right? We all want to be healthier. We all want to feel well. But at the end of the day, it's more than that. Because if you don't feel well, you cannot fulfill your purpose on this earth. And I truly believe that God gives us each a purpose, and then he gives us a passion and a drive to complete those things. But you cannot complete your mission if you are sick, dying, or dead. Right? Because then, like, your journey here is over. I mean, this is so important. So, Pastor Pat, thanks for being with us. Let's give this a shot here. So, down in the left hand, left-hand corner, just go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'm going to mute myself.
Can you hear me? Yeah, good? All right, very good. Well, hello, everyone, and it is a joy to be able to share with you, and an honor. I'm sorry that I'm up in the icy north part of the Miami Valley, but it's a joy to share with you. And really, the fasting and prayer component of life is a seriously well-kept secret. Yet it's been in the Word of God for 1,000 years, thousands of years. And so really it's about order. Now, to kind of set up what it means to be fasting and prayer, fasting is not a hunger strike. It's the ability to connect with the things you need to connect with and disconnect from the things that are toxic to your life. And so you are, according to the Bible, you have 3 parts, and it all makes up who you are. You've got a lot of parts, but you are basically spirit, soul, and body. And the spirit's the one that's full of the life of God and what the Bible calls being born again. That's the part of you that's made brand new. Your soul has learned all kind of life lessons over the course of your life. And some of them are good life lessons, some of them are bad, and they're all in there at the same time. Your mind, your will, and your emotions are all in your soul. And then you have a body, this beautiful carcass that God has given to us to take good stewardship of and do good things with. But sometimes things go out of order, and God knows that. And so he's given us the ideas of fasting in order to be able to manage ourselves in a way that's healthy, the way that connects to him. And sometimes when we get too connected to things and that are noisy and loud, we can't hear from God. He didn't need a megaphone to speak into our lives. And so you don't want that. You want to be able to really connect with God and live in the order that he's prescribed for us. And so in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus quoted as in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, 6, and 7 are the Sermon on the Mount. And then right in the heart of the Sermon on the Mount, which I think is more than just coincidental, is Jesus asked three questions, or he said three things pertaining to when. He said, when you fast, when you pray, when you give. It didn't say if you pray, if you fast, or if you give. He said when. And so with that, you get this dynamic of these are components of our lives that are supposed to be a part of who we are. And then he ends chapter number 6 by saying that you can seek after a lot of different things in life, but if you'll seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, that everything that you need will be added to you. And so the key components are given in the first part of chapter 6, and then he results in saying you can get confused by seeking the wrong things in life, but if you'll put God first, God will add everything that you need to you. And so it's a magnificent revelation out of God's word that really helps us to understand that, man, I can't pass this thing. I can't get free from this thing, or I've got these habits, or I just feel bound up, confused, overwhelmed by life and its details and so forth. There's a period of time where I and our whole congregation and people all over the world take the first month of the year, January, and set aside time to shut out the confusion, to shut out the noise of life, and to really get quiet and to begin to think. The word amusement is an interesting word because it means is negative, muse means to think, and so it means don't think, just amuse yourself. And we've got so many amusements around our life, we don't have time to process our own lives. And so the word muse is to think or to meditate or to think about things, to get things in order. And that's what fasting does. It gives us an opportunity to shut out the noise and then to begin to concentrate. For me, it's on God's word and begin to allow God to speak to me through his word. And boy, does he ever. And it really clears the air. Now, with your physical fasting, it also does the same thing for your body that it's doing for your soul and ultimately for your spiritual life. It puts things back in order. It says to your body, you serve me. I don't serve you. I don't live to eat. I eat to live. And therefore, there's some appetites that need to be corralled in my life, just like everyone else. And at the moment that I'm really crying out for a cheeseburger, there's a positioning that's taking place in my soul. And God's allowing us to be able to hit the reset button on our life, very much like at the chiropractic office. When you get on those vibration plates, it's a reset for your spine. And so fasting is a reset for your soul. And so it's necessary to get things back into alignment and so breakthrough. And this is what happens during a time of fasting and prayer. It's not just about being hungry, and there's many types of fasting. One of the things that we encourage, especially if it's an extended period, like I'm on a 21-day fast right now, is that I can lose weight very quickly. And so if I go on a total water fast, I would look like Gandhi by the time the thing was over with. And so the Daniel's fast, found in the book of Daniel, is a pleasant bread fast. It's no meats, no sweets. For me, it's also no processed anything for me. It's all pretty much raw this and maybe soup occasionally and things like that. And honestly, at the first, you may get a little bit hungry. But honestly, after you get past that and develop into the habit, the benefits to your body, the toxins that you release, the ability to get rid of the things that really are bad for you on the inside, you didn't even know you had, until your body begins to consume the fats and the places where the toxins are stored, and out they go. You're drinking a lot of water during this time, so you get to see the inside of your bathroom quite a bit. But it's a healthy thing for you, and God knows it. He's the one that put it in the Word, and He's the one that built our bodies to be what they are, and so He knows how to make them work. And what happens during this time, it's a lot like a surfer on a surfboard. Something happened. The surfer's not paddling like crazy all the time. He paddles to catch up with the wave, and that's kind of like the fasting part. You paddle and so forth, and you're doing the effort, and all of a sudden the grace of God picks you up like that wave on that surfboard, and it propels you through that time of fasting. You really feel the grace of God picking you up. Suddenly, it's not just, I'm not just praying for the grace to do certain things. You feel His strength begin to pick you up and to propel you forward. And that's really the benefits of fasting. So many different things. Isaiah 58, if you want to read this, and I don't think I'll take the time to teach this, but the fasting that God has chosen is not to appear holy or to be pious, but the fast that God has chosen is to cause your health and the light of God to break forth in your life, and then to, instead of eating, go buy somebody else a meal. It's just one of the most wonderful things that, hey, I'm not going to spend money on me. I might as well give. Matter of fact, that's one of the three things God again said in Matthew 6, fast, pray when you fast, when you pray, when you give. And it's an opportunity for me to buy somebody else's dinner and allow them to enjoy that. And at the same time, He says at the same time, when I do that, my light will break forth out of the darkness. And that's what God wants for every single one of us. He wants us to live life and life abundantly, like Jesus said in John chapter number 10. But there is a thief who's come to steal, kill, and destroy. Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it abundantly. And then He's given us a prescription of how to do that. And so spiritually pressing into God. And the way to do that best is to get rid of the distractions, get rid of the toxic issues in my soul, and begin to just kind of purify things. And it's amazing how God begins to speak, and He begins to say things to us that are so relevant to a healthy family, a healthy person, and beyond that, what He wants us to do, what His plan for my life. And He clarifies those things with it. He leads us, and then you just have to be bold enough to step out and do what you feel like God's leading you to do. So there you go. There's the spiritual benefits of fasting. I don't know if we have any questions, but I'd be glad to field any of those if you have them.
So if you do have a question for Pastor Pat, go ahead and you can unmute yourself, and we'll wait just a few minutes here. You know, it's always a great thing when there aren't any questions. That means you did such a good, perfect job explaining things. It sunk in. And let's see.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, can you all hear me? Okay.
Allison,
Yep.
I thought it was interesting that Pastor Pat brought out the fact that fasting is a chance to kind of reset and realign yourself. And it's not a hunger strike, which I've always thought of it as. Whenever anybody's mentioned fasting, I get this doe in headlight look thinking, no, can't do that. So that was something that I learned that I think is really important.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you for bringing that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share anything? We're kind of keep rolling here. Again, Pastor Pat, thanks. Patty, if you just hit that mute button, I think.
You muted yourself, Dr. Allison.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Did you hear any of that?
No.
Excellent. Okay. So I just said those words are just so important. I don't know about you, but I've made New Year's resolutions and I haven't stuck to them. And there's so much shame we put on ourselves and so much guilt. And we're like, oh, if I was just stronger or smarter, or I had more willpower, if I wasn't lazy, there's just so many different things. And it's so empowering to know that even something as simple as a fast, even though it might not be simple, we can cry out to God and he can help us. I mean, how amazing is that we can really reach for something higher to fill us up and give us strength. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Thursday was the National Break Your New Year's Resolution Day. Like, are you kidding me? This is like a real thing because our lives are so busy. They're so busy. So now I'm going to be sharing with you the research behind fasting. So, we now know the spiritual benefits. I'm going to show you the physical benefits, and then we're going to invite you all on a journey. We're going to do a 7-week fasting program. And if you guys have been on Facebook, you've been hearing us talk about it. It's about training your body to fast, because if your body is burning fat cells instead of sugar, you're going to be more efficient. And let's see. Oh, look. Okay. It says we've removed your 40-minute time on your first group meeting. So no one will need that extra thing. So, Giselle, can you? Okay. Hit okay. And then go to the bottom, share the screen, and then click on the PowerPoint. We promise we'll get more efficient with these things. But thank you. Everybody give Pastor Pat a silent round of applause with all your muted stuff. Thank you for being here. It's super icy up in New Carlisle, Tip City, Ohio. Okay. So which one? Yep, click right there. Okay. And then share. Yep, share. Okay, and then go down to the bottom and hit the little thing that we always do. Yep. And then on this thumbnail thing right at the top, just minimize it. Like, you still have one person muted though. We'll ask Patricia to please mute. So click right there on that one. Okay, and then go here. There you go. It disappeared. Okay, can everybody see this? We're sharing the screen. Yay! Okay. Can everybody hear me? No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me do that. Okay. So we're going to be talking about, and can you see? I feel like I'm like right in front of your. You can move if you would like to. I'm sorry. Okay. So we're going to be talking about the STEMnomic solution. Actually, you know what? How about we do this? Okay, and then you can move back because now I'm in your way. Like you moved, I moved. Okay, it's all perfect. Okay, so this fasting program is called the STEMnomic solution. Everybody say STEMnomic.
STEMnomic.
Because this first section right here, if you get onto manage people, then you can like manage the participants and you can put mute all. Okay, so this is a 7-week program utilizing fasting, ketosis, and diet variation to maximize stem cells for health and longevity. Doesn't sound fun? Yay! So
You're muted again.
I can't hear you.
kidding me. Okay.
So manage participants.
Did you hear any of that?
No,
Friends.
no, nothing.
All right, so now you're unmuted. So
Okay, so mute yourself. Okay. I
So
think
am
what
I
we're
muted now?
having. Obviously, we're rookies. We're giving it our best shot. Okay, I just turned that off. Can you hear me now? No.
if I'm unmuting everybody, does that unmute you as well?
I heard you.
Okay, everyone mute yourself. Oh my goodness. This is what it's like your white. We're trying. Yeah, Why did we even
Giselle,
miss
you're
this
still
okay.
unmuted.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm about to hold the phone. Okay.
Okay.
This is what I keep my head. Stick the left right in front of me.
Okay.
And then we're just gonna turn the phone off.
All right, so we're gonna rework this a little bit.
Yeah, just real quick. Okay, everybody just hang tight. Go to the bathroom, get some water. Guys, thanks for being patient. I'm gonna talk super fast to make up for it. That's perfect. Okay. This is gonna be like an up the nose view. Okay, let's see.
Might want to move over there. That might be the best place.
Okay. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, can you all hear me now?
So I can move it. No, you're fine then. You're fine. I mean, I
Miss
want you to
you.
be able to see.
Yes.
Where?
Sound perfect.
Where is everybody? Is
So
everyone
did you go to
gone?
Did you go to manage
I
participants?
can hear you.
I minimized the
Oh,
since you're like on this view, we don't have like the
oh,
little-
so it's not up on the table. Okay.
Yeah.
So, just one person, Mom, unmute yourself and tell me if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you, Allison.
Oh, fine. Okay, last thing here.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. That's what's going on. Now I need to turn the volume up. No, it is up. You gotta be kidding me. I'm gonna. Okay.
Go to talking. There's people there.
Somebody get on their own phone, please, and tell me if you can like hear.
She can hear you.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Now we're gonna keep rolling. Everybody, thanks for hanging in. Here we go. Ready, set, go. And everyone can see this. You can see the stem cells, right? Okay. So stem cells, because we're calling it the stemnomic solution, right? Stem cells have the potential to develop into many different types of cells in the body. They serve as a repair system for the body. Stem cells are different than any other cells in the body. They can divide into any other type of cell. So originally, they don't really have a purpose other than they're going to divide into something, and then there'll be muscle cells, blood cells, brain cells, whatever your body needs, the stem cells will become that. How many people think that's pretty powerful? Like, it's amazing. People are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on getting injections of stem cells, right? I mean, they're getting injected into their spine, their muscles, their joints. It is phenomenal what these stem cells can do. So how cool is it that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars when you do a fast? We are generating these stem cells. So that's why it's the stemnomic solution. And just a quick little thing, just wanted to explain. It says like live it to lead it, go platinum. I wanted to share with you guys that I train with a group of doctors, and Dr. Pompa calls us his platinum doctors, and we do a lot of advanced training around the country. And our seminars, when we get together, they're always called Live It to Lead It, because before we teach something, we do it. Okay, so like our staff, our team, our families, we're all going to be doing this with you. I have a tiny little disclaimer. I'm still nursing Titus. So I will be fasting at some points, but not to the full effect that all of you will be. So anyone feeding a human or growing a human is excused. Okay. No, but there still are some really valuable things that you're going to get from this. So stemnomic, this is the use of therapeutic strategies that will enhance the production and utilization of stem cells. And so the stemnomic diet, these are, again, strategies that enhance the production. Oh, is that like repeated? Yeah. Okay. Never mind. And so this is a 7-week program so that we can really maximize your health and longevity. So truly, when we take care of patients and this group of doctors that I work with, I mean, this is literally the sickest of the sick people. It's not just like, you know, just, oh, I have low energy and my hair is falling out, like just some of the, what we might consider mild symptoms. They're never mild when they're our own. Am I right? Like they're life altering. But absolutely 100% of the time, the testimonies of true miracles are when these ancient healing strategies are coupled with detox and other things that we teach our patients. But fasting is such a huge component. And as Pastor Pat shared, it's like we've literally been doing it for thousands of years. Before anyone knew why they should fast, God just said, just fast. Don't ask questions, just do it, right? I mean, that's just amazing. So there are 7 reasons to fast. I'm sure there's way more, but these are the ones we're going to talk about today. So autophagy. Everybody say autophagy.
Autophagy.
Yay. This is your body getting rid of bad cells and DNA. How cool is that? All the bad cells, please just die. Like, we only want the good ones here. So you get a stem cell surge. So this replaces the cells used for energy and repair during the autophagy process. We get elevated ketones. How many of you have heard of the ketogenic diet, or you're working on, like, you know, getting your ketones up? This is a way that you can really jazz those up. The ketones burn clean. They activate stem cells again. They heal the brain. Anybody have brain fog? Trouble adding like smaller numbers, or I mean, just your memory, like, or how many of you guys would just like to keep all your mental facilities intact for a long, long, long time? Let's see, energy diversion. So guess what? If you're constantly eating, you've got all your blood supply, all of your energy is in your gut trying to do other things. And it basically like slacks off on the rest of your body. That can happen. Hormone optimization. I want to draw you a really quick picture here, and then I'm going to try to show it to the video, or maybe Giselle can do it. I don't know if you can see that there. Okay, this is a cell, a beautiful cell. And when we talk about hormones, if you guys could just real quickly throw out any hormones you can think of. Hormones. Estrogen. Testosterone. Progesterone. Guess what? Insulin. Leptin. Thyroid hormones. T3, T4. I mean, we have
HGC.
Yep. There are the HG. Yep. Human growth hormone. HGH. Yep. So all these hormones out here, okay, they have to bind to a receptor to get into the cell, to get their message in the cell, right? Okay. Now, we also have to get toxins out of the cell. So we want to get things in the cell. We want to get things out of the cell. How many of you guys know we live in a toxic world right now? I mean, it is getting worse and worse, and you can't avoid it, because if you were outside, you were breathing the air. If you drank water today and ate food, I mean, it's everywhere. It's causing a specific type of inflammation that is inflammation of the membrane. So now the membrane gets inflamed, and all these receptors get blunted. So guess what happens? You go to, and typically the first thing your doctor will do will run your blood work, right? And so we've got, oh, this checks out, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, good. And they're like, oh, well, your blood work's normal, but you still feel like, right? That's because, will somebody else tell me why? Why do you still feel like crap? All this stuff is out here.
It's not getting in.
It's not getting its message in the cell. So when we talk about hormone optimization, that is what we're talking about. We're going to talk more in detail about inflammation and fasting, but everybody wants their hormones optimized, right? Because any hormones in there, we want them doing what they're supposed to be. And one thing we know, type 2 diabetes. Everybody's familiar with this. Probably everyone either has it in their family or a family member, or a friend, or maybe struggling with it themselves. There are so many doctors. If anyone speaks about type 2 diabetes, they very quickly refocus, and they're like, this is not just a condition of insulin, it's a condition of insulin resistance. So it's like you're resistant to the insulin. So again, when we're talking about fasting, optimizing your hormones, it just has so many effects. Okay, it resets your DNA. How many of you guys have, bad health conditions in your family? Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, the list goes on and on. And what do you know about, if you've ever filled out a health history anywhere, do you have to usually tell them about your family history? Right, we know that we do inherit DNA. Okay, so they did a study at Duke University, and these mice, they exposed them to a toxin, and this toxin turned on this agouti gene, and these mice developed thyroid conditions, heart disease, and became morbidly obese. And they were like, well, we better do this again, right? So they took twin mice, they did the study again, exposed just the one group to the toxin, again, turned on the same markers. They had thyroid disease, became morbidly obese, and heart disease. And they exercised them the same, they fed them the same, but still they continued to go downhill. So they had all the mice reproduce. Okay, so healthy mice had healthy babies, and the sick mice had sick babies. And so what they did, though, was through a process of detoxification and fasting and similar strategies to what we use to heal our bodies, they were able to take that group of mice that were sick and their babies, and those conditions started reversing. They lost weight, their thyroid numbers got better, their cardiovascular systems were working better. And it was so amazing, because then after those mice were better, they had them reproduce. And even though they were sick, they turned off those genes and got better. So when they had babies, what kind of babies did they have? Healthy babies. So fasting gives us another tool that you can literally change your DNA. You can think of that laundry list of conditions in your family, and you can say that doesn't have to be me. So I don't know about you, but that, it gives me goosebumps. I mean, that empowers us. And so then it also resets your microbiome. You've all, I'm sure, heard of leaky gut, right? Maybe you've heard of SIBO, and there's just a million different things that are now out on the internet and people are able to read about and learn. But we know that our gut is so important, and not just our immune system, that we call it our second brain, right? So many things go on, and stress can starve that bacteria. And once it's out of balance, we know our whole life's out of balance. And it can reset the gut for healing. So let's roll on, my friends. So this is autophagy and stem cells. This is your body's way to cleanse itself, right? The old cells are dying off. So this is just a biological process of just cleaning things up. This doctor won the Nobel Prize because he found that autophagy becomes especially intensive when an organism is under stress. For example, when it fasts. Okay, so we think of stress as always bad, but we know we can undergo good stress, right? When you go to the gym and you're pumping some iron, are you stressing your muscles? Yeah, you're working them out. That is literally, fasting does the same thing to our cells. So in this case, a cell produces energy using its internal resources or cellular rubbish, including pathogenic bacteria. You guys know what happens when a dog gets sick? Does it eat or not eat?
Not eat.
They automatically fast. It's a beautiful thing in the animal kingdom. God just programmed them with that knowledge. Don't eat if you're sick. To eat when you're sick is to feed the sickness, is what lots of doctors say. This is another study that they found that fasting is triggering that stem cell regeneration. So as we get older, our blood contains too many memory T cells, and they're each programmed to combat different things. But if we have naive T cells, because we're going to encounter different sicknesses all the time, right? So we want naive T cells so that when we encounter something, we can adapt and take care of that. Does that make sense? So what the fasting is triggering is the stem cells to change our immune system, so that our immune system and our bodies get smarter. pretty cool. So what drives autophagy? We all know that that's important and we'd like to have it, right, in our body. Let's clean up the rubbish. So fasting, especially after 4 days. So really 5 is the goal, okay? We can also do a partial fast or something called the fasting mimicking diet where basically there's restricted calories. So Pastor Pat mentioned the Daniel fast. That's something that is, well, I know a lot of people do it differently, but some people just do like raw fruits and vegetables. And that is really also amazing for the autophagy process. Low carb, so, you know, if anybody's in ketosis and working on that, they jack their fats up and decrease the carbs. And even low protein can be really great for feast and famine cycles. So we talked about working out, right? So working out stresses your body. Fasting is to your mitochondria what working out is to your muscles. Did that make sense? I'm surprised I got that out the first time. So basically, your weak mitochondria can't adapt. So the weaklings, again, they die off. They get eaten. Autophagy. So it occurs in a 5-day fast to some degree. It can also do some intermittent fasting. How many of you guys have heard of intermittent fasting? Okay, good. So we got some good news. That's very beneficial as well. Is daily intermittent fasting just as effective? Almost everyone can intermittent fast. It is something, I never want to say it's a simple process because it's simple for some people and it's hard for others, the story of our lives, right? But studies show that some autophagy can happen with a 15 to 24-hour fast. It forces up your ketones even when you're not in ketosis. You guys, have you seen those exogenous ketones? Like there's keto drinks and things like that. That is basically putting ketones in your body. But if your body's not able to make them, it doesn't actually do you any good other than the moment. Does that make sense? Excuse me. So drops inflammation markers. So when we talk about the inflammation in your cells, it's going down with intermittent fasting. Again, hormone optimization, we're increasing the sensitivity, especially if you're going over 15 hours. And studies show that growth hormone rise is still as high as 2,000%. It is amazing. So this study was even in a 24-hour daily intermittent fast. And we're going to, wait, pretty much everyone raised their hand. Giselle, can you see if anybody raised your hand? Raise your hand if you do not know what intermittent fasting is. Should I go through that real quick? Okay, so intermittent fasting, for example, you count the time that you're sleeping, right? So you go to bed and let's say you count that time and then the clock stops when you put the first bite in your mouth or drink, minus coffee or water, okay? So that is what that clock, so when we're talking about fasting for 15 hours, it starts at night and goes till the next day. So I don't know, many of you know Dr. Dan, what time do you normally eat? Yeah, right. He's been waiting till dinner. And I know Garrett's been doing a lot of intermittent fasting. It's like 1, 2, even 3 o'clock. Is the first, about 3 o'clock. Yeah, is the first time they're eating. And the amazing thing is your growth hormone is shooting through the roof. We're going to connect that to a couple more dots here. So because of the effect that fasting has on the growth hormone, it preserves your muscle mass. How many of you guys heard, oh man, if I fast, my body's gonna like eat my muscle?
I heard, but it's not true.
Right? It's a big myth. It's like the big Mythbuster guys when they're just blowing things up, right? This is a huge myth when you are fasting. And I'm gonna say when you're fasting properly, your body shoots that growth hormone up. You are not going to eat your muscle. Okay, it's going to eat the fat. So the key for weight loss and longevity is the hormone optimization. So has anyone ever lost 15, 20 pounds? It doesn't matter how much you've lost and then gained it right back. And then you lost it again and then you gained it right back. And then you lost it again. And I don't need to keep doing this, right? That's because your body does have a set point. And a lot of times we've heard of that, right? You have a set point that you always go back to. Well, when they've done the research on why you have a set point, it's because of hormone resistance. So you're resistant to the insulin and the leptin because our cells have to bind to the leptin in order to burn the fat, okay? So when you fast and you become more sensitive to those hormones, you can literally change your set point. I mean, it's the cool thing is, I don't know how many times over the years, like I've read a book, or, you know, you hear about this special drink or this diet or this or that. And it's like, you can change your set point. We now have the research. This is the only way to change your set point, is to become more sensitive to the hormones. So this study's 20 hours of water fasting was enough to increase insulin sensitivity, which is the key for healthy weight loss and for most diseases. This study, a short-term fast, increased the luteinizing hormone by a staggering 67% in non-obese males, and in obese males, 26% increase. I mean, it's just amazing. So, you know, we also think of ladies like with menstrual irregularities, whether they're going through the change of life or whether they're younger and they just have terribly painful periods, or, you know, excessive bleeding, like whatever the case, cysts on your ovaries, like, or infertility. It's like, if your body could become more sensitive to the hormones that it already knows how to make, this is literally life-changing. So there's 180% increase in testosterone. That is huge. So it sounds absolutely crazy. Garrett, you mind if I talk about you for a second? Is Garrett giving me a nod? Okay.
That's fine.
I don't know how many of you guys met Garrett, but he's a pretty trim guy, okay? Pretty trim, and when he first heard about fasting, he's like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way I'm fasting. He's like, I'm not dropping a pound. He wants to put weight on. But now, Garrett, unmute yourself for a second.
Hello.
I can't see him.
Sorry, roommates are a little loud sometimes.
Is he talking?
Oh my gosh, you guys, I promise we're going to get better at this. We're going to really practice. So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quiet, but Garrett, if you could just tell us real quick. So Garrett worked at Freedom Family Chiropractic, but now he's at chiropractic school. He's going to be Dr. Garrett here in a couple years. Garrett, say something.
Hi, guys.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So Garrett, will you take just a minute, please, and just tell everybody a little bit about your experience, like, your first thoughts of fasting, and then when you did fast, and then now, like, what time are you really eating? And I never even really asked you, have you gained any weight since doing this fasting? So
I just did my physical exam for my student clinic, and I was 121. So technically, when I first started the whole fasting thing, I was at 118. And they told me for 10 months to come in and do this. And I was like, there's no way. Like she said, I'm already 118 pounds. I'm not trying to lose any weight. You want me to not eat? That sounds crazy. So eventually we went to the seminar and we talked about all this stuff that she's talking about now. And I decided to do it. And it was honestly awesome. I went down to 112 on day 5, but on day 6, I was at 120. So I kind of gained 2 pounds during it. And now I'm 121, like I said, and I haven't been eating until about 4 o'clock most days. Depends when classes are, so that's kind of depends. The whole move got me a little out of whack, but I was doing that for it's almost 3 months now, and I feel great. It's been a wonderful experience, honestly.
Good. And so, are you feeling good?
Oh, yeah. I can definitely tell a difference. Like you said, the brain fog, and I really felt like I was fine before. Like I wasn't doing this because I felt really bad. Like I was trying to get better. I thought that I was at a good level, and it just took me to a whole nother place. And it's been really fun.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, then that top left button. Turn that. That is awesome. I love what he said at the end too, where it's like, I thought I was doing pretty good, but now I really feel good. And that's really what we want to bring you truth about too, is not just feeling good. It's like, optimal health, right? It's huge. So, and just like Garrett said, he's literally fasting and he's putting on weight. So intermittent fast and exercise. A lot of people want to know, hey, can I exercise while I'm fasting? The answer is yes. Can everybody do it right away? Maybe not, right? We do have to become more sensitive to our hormones. We do have to become more efficient at fasting. But that's why this fast, we talk about this 7-week program. This doesn't mean that it's over in 7 weeks and you never do it again. What this is a beautiful learning experience that you get to walk through, and you use this tool for the rest of your life. Teach your family, teach your friends, and every time you're either sick or you need to optimize your hormones or you're feeling toxic or brain fog or whatever, you just bust out this tool out of your tool bag. It's amazing. So when done together, intermittent fasting and exercise, that is when you get the greatest hormone optimization and the sensitivity of the growth hormone and testosterone. So just to clear it up, when we talk about testosterone, I don't know how many of you ladies know, we're not just talking about men. I recently did a hormone panel for a lady, and man, she just feels like blah in her energy, and she's gained weight, and there's just all these things going on. Her testosterone is like non-existent. And she's like, wait a second, we don't want to raise my testosterone. Like, am I going to, you always wonder, like, am I going to grow some facial hair or something like that? No, it's totally the opposite. We have to have a balance, whether you're a man or a woman. You obviously have a different balance, but it's so important. So exercise while fast, yes, so it increases those things massively. Okay, I want to do a quick little disclaimer. Has anyone heard of the Hodge twins? Okay, they are bodybuilders who do all intermittent fasting, ketosis. I watched a couple of their videos. Just put your kids out of the room because their mouths are, I'm just like, oh my. I was like holding Titus's ears. I'm like, earmuffs, baby, sorry. They have a very powerful story, and they do some really amazing things for the athletic community about that. But I just wanted a small disclaimer. But you can literally bodybuild and perform at a super high level. What was that website? Remember that website? There's a really cool movie, but these people rowed across the Atlantic, rowboat, all keto, like completely fasted state. Totally phenomenal. Dr. Pomp always talks about, not always talks about, but he shares a story when he goes out on bike rides, like 50-mile bike rides with his buddies, and they're all like pounding the gel packs and oh man, you need a drink, you need a bar. And he's like, no, like he's 3% body fat and he can go on 50-mile bike rides and not eat anything. That is because your body is so efficient at burning those. And then Ben Greenfield, he has some cool podcasts again. This is Dr. Pompa's wife, and I wanted to tell her story because sometimes you look at this and you're like, oh yeah, there's some people that do that, but that's not me. Or like, maybe that's just in her genes or whatever. So Marilee shared her story with all of us at the seminar, so I figured it was totally fine to go ahead and share her story with you guys too. But she had a history of breast cancer in her family. I believe it was like her mom, her aunt, and the way that her hormones were changing and her health was changing, she was headed on that same path. Now they were looking into some heavy metal toxicity, and she's detoxing, like a lot of different factors bringing it in. But she said it was not until fasting that she really started optimizing her body. Like she never ever in her life looked like this. It's just like when your growth hormone goes up, like you can do the same workout you did 10 years ago and it's do something different, right? So it transformed her. And what the beautiful part of her story is, it also transformed her emotionally and spiritually. She just shared, this is what she learned. Like, you've got to bring your struggle to God, pray and meditate on it daily, and expect breakthrough. How many of you, when you make a New Year's resolution, expect yourself to completely succeed and just blow it out of the park? Okay, that's good. That's good. But the majority of us, we don't. We don't. We have this thing in the back of our head, like that national day of break your New Year's resolution is coming up, so I'm probably going to quit then, right? And some of those are patterns, but with the fasting, I want to tell you, expect breakthrough. Don't expect it on your first fast. Okay, your body has to like optimize, right? And that's what the weeks leading up to the actual fast will be. But do expect breakthrough and expect miracles for your health. It was multiple fasts that was really most profound. So it was not easy for her to fast. It was really hard for her to get into ketosis because of when her cycles were, coming around. But ultimately, it really is changing thousands of lives. and just a tiny little thing. I told you I train with a group of about 50 doctors. All of those doctors are doing this program in their office, like pretty much the month of January, February. So there's quite a community. And so how many of you guys are on Facebook? Maybe a better question is like, is anyone not on Facebook? Okay, that's good. But there's a lot of groups. We're gonna put one together for you guys for like support. But there's a lot of groups out there. Like all of us doctors, when we did a big fast, and Dr. Paul would call it fasting for a purpose. Like, I mean, it's a bigger purpose, right? And then when we talk about live it to lead it, it's like if you get efficient at fasting, then you can communicate with your friend or your coworker who's going through these things. Okay, the key to living longer. It sounds good and healthy, not just longer and like not there, right? All the studies are numerous and clear. Eat less and you live longer. So no ancient culture ate less by pushing food away. They did it by eating less often. So when we talk about intermittent fasting, that's a huge thing. Everybody say, don't eat less. Everybody say it. Don't eat less. Eat less often. Okay, that's really what it is. You're cramming it in that window. So this is a new study. They're looking at mice that ate once a day and they lived 40% longer. It's not like 12% on Saturday, like 40%. It's huge, 40% longer. So these mice ate one meal a day, the longest fasting period. They live longer. I'm going to kind of blow through this because we do actually have a lot of slides. But okay. Once again, this was a slide for us, and it said, shh, don't tell your patients. But people, like, I mean, sometimes people are like, oh, excuse me, don't take my blueberry muffin away in the morning. Like, that's, like, it would literally alter their life status. So this is really cool because the studies have been done, and they saw if people are eating within that window, even if they're eating junkier foods, they're going to get some really amazing benefits. So just in case you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can only eat carrots and celery for the next like 7 weeks. It's not what we're about. Okay, but now put that out of your mind because it was a secret. Okay. So now, granted, we know if you're eating clean, you're going to get better and faster results. But this did make me feel warm and fuzzy, so I had to share it. When continuously eating or snacking periodically through the day, your metabolism doesn't have time to readjust or reset. How many of you guys heard like, oh, you should eat 5 small meals a day? Myth busted. Like, we need a sound effect for that. Okay. Your body fixes and removes the garbage during this time. Again, it comes down to hormone optimization. Check out this cute little lady. I eat 2 eggs a day and that's it. Oh, and cookies. But I don't eat much because I don't have any teeth. Well, guess how long she lived? 117 years.
Wow.
And so they're looking at people that have lived the longest. They eat less, right? In America, we have anything at our fingertips at any given point delivered to our doorstep. DoorDash, right? I mean, it's just like click, click, click on your phone and there it is. So again, we already busted this myth 5 to 6 times a day. So all studies show that frequent snacking and eating speeds up aging. It increases the inflammation and it doesn't work for long-term weight loss, right? So you can change things, but it's going to come right back. So the intermittent fasting, the how-to, it's very simple. It really is. Skip breakfast or dinner. So whatever you're like, if you are just all about your breakfast and you need it, then do that. But then you stop eating by a certain time. And then the first thing you do is start with no snacks. I'll tell you, before you even do that, write down every time you put something in your mouth. Even if you take a drink of milk or juice or anything like that, we do leave coffee and water off the list. But every time you do, is the next one in here? I thought I had a study that showed how like an average amount that people are usually eating a day or putting something in their mouth. So for more muscular gains, you actually start shrinking your window of eating, right? And you eat one big meal to remind your body you're not starving. Like you don't want to go into starvation mode, right? But fasting, that's not about starvation mode. So what about my morning coffee? I mean, some of us may quit our jobs to like punch our bosses if we don't have our coffee, right? I hope no one on this team says that about, no, I'm kidding. So does it raise your blood sugar? Yes or no? You have to test. So we use a keto mojo meter and it's like Jen might have coffee, and she might have black coffee, and she sees that it raises her glucose, and that's not going to be what she wants, but she may put some butter and some coconut oil in it, and then her glucose may go down. But you have to test before and after. Now,
So black coffee could raise your glucose?
it is possible. So that's why you test. So, because every single body in here is going to respond differently. And some people, like for example, if you have a dairy intolerance, you do something with dairy, it could throw things off. Yeah, go ahead.
What's the point of glucose?
So when you are testing your glucose and your ketones, it gives you a tool. It's like a window into how your body is processing the food. Okay.
If you increase your glucose, will increase your insulin to match it.
Right. Yes. And so what we want to do is get that ratio of like the glucose to go down and the ketones to go up. I think we're going to, yep. So you want your glucose to go down and you want your ketones to go up. And it does take time. And this is where we give ourselves some grace. Like if one fast doesn't really kick you into ketosis, then multiple fasts is really where it's at. But again, anybody could ask, what if I put this in my coffee? I don't know, which is almost a beautiful answer. How frustrating is it when you, like, someone thinks that they can fix all your problems with this, this, and this? It's not true. Otherwise we'd all be like rock stars and just optimal Olympic athletes, and but so that's where we test. Okay, types of blood fasting. Where should I start? There's lots of fasting, right? So water only has been done for thousands of years. Juice fasts, whey water, bone broth, partial fasting, or even the fasting mimicking diet. And this is a FMD, is fasting mimicking diet. So this is a caloric restriction for 5 days a month. And it was low protein, low carb, but really high fat, and 25 days of eating whatever they wanted. And they found that beta cells in the pancreas regenerated. So when we talk about type 2 diabetes and you're like, yeah, you can become more insulin sensitive. Now we're talking about type 1 diabetics. So the beta cells, like to get diagnosed with type 1, it means that your beta cells are not producing insulin. Your stem cells go to the weakest link, right? So they go to the pancreas, they're generating those, and they are reversing type 1 diabetes. Wow. It's beautiful. Have you guys heard of Dr. Jason Fung?
Yeah.
Okay, he spoke at our last seminar. What a nice guy. I love when I've like listened and followed people for a long time, when you actually interact with them and then you really like them. Because I mean, sometimes people are just jerks, like, I mean, you're like, okay, you've got good information, but he's not very nice. Like he just was a beautiful person. But he's doing phenomenal research. He's a medical doctor. And he does like literally fasts diabetics. He has amazing programs for that. But again, he spoke at our seminar, and that is what a lot of this is culminated from, a lot of these doctors. Okay, so for those of you who struggle to control insulin or glucose, or you're not losing weight even when you're in ketosis, or maybe oh man, I eat clean and it's Whole30 and it's that, and I've never touched a lick of sugar, and you're still having problems, this is it. You need the block fasting. Hormone dysregulation, low cellular energy. Autoimmune is so huge. Like when we talk about autoimmune, that's big, right? Anybody with scleroderma or rheumatoid arthritis or psoriasis, or I mean, the list goes on and on. At the end of the day, I mean, cancer is really in there, right? Your immune system is down. Fixing the gut and resetting the microbiome is so huge for your health, and fasting is one of the fastest ways. Like everybody in here could take the same exact probiotic and you could have a completely different reaction. I mean, and by reaction, I don't necessarily mean a crazy symptom. I mean, like there could be different concoctions of bacteria going on. Okay, so this next study I'm going to tell you, it was 1912 they did this study, and what they did is they fasted this dog. It was a collie, and they fasted him like multiple times. So they got him, I mean, he built the systems in his body so that he could burn ketones instead of sugars, right? This dog fasted for 117 days. They quit the study. They're like, let's feed the dog, not because he was dying, but because he was still jumping out of his cage. Like, it's phenomenal, the things that our body can do. We had one gentleman stand up in our seminar, and he had been fasting for like, I don't know, it was like 127 days or something. And he was just then beginning to get hungry. He had lost a substantial amount of weight. I mean, it was just awesome. You have a
When you
question?
say fasting, are you
Water.
just water?
Water, no coffee, no supplements. Like when we're talking about block fasting, it is water fasting. Oscar truly became unstoppable. Who wants to be unstoppable? Bring it on, my friends. Okay, so fasting fixes your gut barrier, turns off the autoimmunity. Really cool study. It just showed how there's genetic markers for inflammation, right? Some of us are more prone to inflammation than others, but fasting can turn those genes off.
Quick question about water fasting. When you're water fasting, do you still take supplements? Not at all. So not vitamins, not.
Nope. Now, if anyone is taking a medication that they've been prescribed by a doctor, they would still need to do that.
Right.
And the other thing, since we're on the topic, if you are on multiple medications, I would suggest talking to your doctor and just say, hey, I'm trying some fasting. Or I know there's a lot of doctors, if they're not educated in it, they're going to frown, they're going to discourage you on it. You guys know who Dr. Mercola is, right? So he wrote a book, Fat for Fuel. That's the book, right? Yes. Okay. And him and Dr. Pompa were talking about it. And I felt so good to be a part of this group because Dr. Pompa and Dr. Mercola were talking about this book. And he says, wait a second, you're teaching a group of doctors to teach people how to fast? This is phenomenal. Like, you know, he's writing a book, getting it out there. What'd you say?
Heresy.
He's like, but I mean, that's literally what we learn in a lot of our trainings is how to fast people properly. So how long can one fast? This 27-year-old obese Scotsman weighed 456 pounds. He water fasted for how many days?
Wow.
Woo! Like, I mean, I did one Facebook Live and I was like, what if you were sitting at dinner and you were just talking about, oh, I could never fast, or, you know, something like that. And you're sitting next to this guy and he's just like, piece of cake.
A year.
Yeah. So it's like, whenever you're thinking about, oh, it's day 3 and I feel the worst, think about this guy, right? He never gained it back. That is so powerful.
That's what I was gonna ask. Did he reset?
Yeah, he did. He reset. All of his nutrition markers remained normal. His depression lifted. His neurotransmitters, all the hormones became normal, and it was beautiful. So he, like I said, some people need to be medically monitored. So you just let your doctor know. I mean, at the end of the day, they can say, oh, don't fast. You can be like, okay, great. I'll be back in 30 days. I'm going to need some more blood work. And they're going to be like, okay, I'll get paid for this. I mean, hopefully, maybe. I don't know. So in order to determine the maximum autophagy, there's a target ratio. And this is really something where if you guys choose, so basically I'm going to offer you guys to join us on this 7-week journey here in a little bit. And this is a lot of words and you have to do some calculation and you kind of need to remember it. But what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through it. Because what we know is that when you have the proper ratio of the glucose to the ketones, that is when your body is in maximum autophagy, right? Which is getting rid of the rubbish. Who should not block fast? After hearing this stuff, is anyone still afraid of fasting? I know a lot of people, and a lot of people too, like if they're very, very thin, just like Garrett talked about, like it is really fearful. That's what is a beautiful part of like what Pastor Pat talked about too, is we know, how many of you know fear can hold you back? I mean, fear can hold you back. So what is the opposite of fear, or what's going to counteract that, I believe, is truth. Right? Truth that you are made for a purpose, truth that you can do this, truth that you're worth it, truth that, like, I mean, write your affirmations, friends, write them on your bathroom mirrors, put them anywhere, because truth, he says, the truth will set you free, right? So what is, like, how do you get free from fear is truth. So I want to challenge you too, just like when you feel those truths, or even if you don't feel them, write them down. I am worth it. I am capable. I am strong. I am healthy. I know there's been some crazy studies where people are like, I am 140 pounds. And they say that every day. And guess what happens? Their body changes until they're 100%. I mean, our mind is a powerful thing. So this is none of us though, right? Thank you, Lord. Okay, if you're growing a human or feeding a human, it's probably not good to do some fasting. I can tell you though that because I had done intermittent fasting before, I was able during a pregnancy for certain trimesters, and now as nursing, I can intermittent fast. But it is again where your body's at, and are you putting the other good things in? I eat at least an avocado a day of fat, like, and more fat too. But so this is kind of whatever about this. Children, technically, like a doctor would tell you, don't fast your children. However, if that child has like their hormones are just all out of whack, maybe they're gaining weight or they're brain fogged or they're this or that, could you use an element of fasting for that child? Absolutely. You could do the fasting mimicking diet. You could reduce the calories. You could change up the ratios. And then Dr. Pompa's son, I want to say he was 11 maybe, but they did a really cool video on Cellular Healing TV where he shared his story. I think he fasted for 12 days, just water. He was like, announced it in the kitchen, I'm going to fast. And I mean, he was like, great, cool. So teaching your kids about prayer and fasting is really important. Yes,
Fixes seizures.
it does. Seizures, Dominic D'Agostino is doing some phenomenal research with that. And they're using, I believe they're using Navy SEALs and other like military that are just at this super high level. And they're like, oh my goodness, they can't, they're not getting good nutrition. They can't eat on a regular basis, but they have to perform at like optimal, like their best possible self. And they found that when they were fasting and the intermittent fasting and getting into ketosis, they looked at other seizure disorders and some of them were eliminated. I mean, it's beautiful. Now, who should not block fast? Eating disorders are really hard, right? Because there are some of us that have eating disorders like from our past as a child or a teenager, and we know that there was always a reason that we had those, right? There was a reason and there was a programming in our brain. So what I want to challenge you is with this slide, I didn't want to just like leave it out, but if there is or was an eating disorder, let's just go ahead and claim victory over that. Like, I mean, sometimes when you start doing a fast, know your limits and know your boundaries, right? So it's like, hey, this is actually like really messing with my head. Then that's something you should talk to someone about if you want to continue fasting. However, I'm also saying, let's just claim some victory over that. Like that was in the past, like you can move forward. And fasting is not, what did Pastor Pat say? He said, it's not a hunger strike, right? This is something that is producing change and breakthrough in our lives. So how many of you know you can feel pretty crappy sometimes during a fast, but not because you're not eating. It's not because you're literally starving. It is because of toxins being released, right? So you could feel weak. You could have low energy, fatigue. You could have an increase in your pain. Like some people, I had a dear lady that I took care of. This lady, I mean, all over joint pain all the time. She's getting chiropractic care. She's eating clean. She does everything she can. She gets massages and she's just in pain all the time. When she started doing fasts, it wasn't until she did, I think, her second or third 10-day water fast. And she came in and she was like, I am a new person. Like, I mean, the joint pain was gone. Her head was clearer. It was beautiful. But like I said, that was like her third 10-day fast. But you could potentially have an increase in pain initially. You could have headaches. Headaches are a huge one. Nausea, sleeping, like troubles like insomnia, not be able to sleep, cold, brain fog, coated tongue. So as your bacteria starts dying off, right, things start changing. So these symptoms during a fast can be managed. So here's what we want to do is we want to do our best to give you tools so that as you are fasting, you can keep going. And it's not all just about like mentally pushing through, right? I mean, we have some physical tools with these supplements. So 3 reasons you might not feel well: low electrolytes, or maybe you're not fully fat adapted, or you're neurotoxic. Okay. And we do have these 3 supplements that are, excuse me, they're cleaning up the rubbish. As it's, the cells are dying, the rubbish has to go somewhere. It's going to clean up the rubbish. And then Dr. Dan, the fast tonic, remind me what you said about the little mechanic.
So hydrogen, and they kind of described it. It's like a little mechanic going in your body, just going around like fixing little things that are wrong. So
Like-
basically going around your house, straightening out pictures, fixing things that are crooked on your body, just going through and fine tuning cells, different cellular things. Better.
Yeah, so the fast tonic, that's what we're talking about. This is like a little capsule we drop in the water and it fizzes and you drink it and it's like, you literally feel almost immediately better. It's phenomenal. So we want to give you those tools. Excuse me. So this is a 7-week program. How many of you guys are ready to fast? You're ready to fast right now, today? No, just kidding. Well, no, I'm not really kidding. Okay, we're gonna start on Monday. So here's the program, and this is what we're offering to take you through. Anybody that is on the Zoom call, I promise we'll get more efficient at these. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk through this program together. It's 7 weeks. It's $197 for every person, and we're gonna meet every Monday night on these Zoom calls, and we're gonna go through these things. Okay. So the first week, we're gonna get off the blood sugar roller coaster. We're going to give you those tools to get off that roller coaster. Week 2 says, let the magic begin. Week 2, we work on decreasing the snacks. We're going to do, actually, I'll just go through this. Okay. I'm going to roll through this and then I'll tell you a little bit more about each week. You're going to discover your personalized eating window because every single one of you may have a different one and you're going to be able to optimize things at different levels. So we're going to tap into deep subcutaneous fat stores. You're going to become stronger and more efficient, a fat burner. And then it's not until week 6 that we do our water fast together. And it is a 5-day fast. So if you guys remember that research, it's like, that's the perfect time. So day 3, day 4, those are sometimes the days you feel the worst. Like day 1, you're like, yeah, I'm doing it. And you're ready to go. And then day 2, you're like, oh, maybe I won't work out today. And day 3, you're like, I'm dying. Like this is a possibility. Okay. Especially if this is your first fast. So the 5-day water fast is week 6. And then how important is it to reintroduce foods into your body properly? Okay. So, I mean, your bacteria just got smacked in the face and they're like, what do we do? I mean, we gotta reintroduce things properly. So I'm gonna fly through this real quick here. So ketosis, we talk about getting the fats in your diet, the right foods to eat, decreasing your snacks. We're going to give you tips and tricks. We're going to meet, like if you're in this area, we're going to meet together on Monday night. Okay. And we'll put together grocery lists and share ideas. And we really want to build that community for you guys. We're also going to have a Facebook group. So I know I've got some family that's out of town and wherever you guys are, you will be able to do this. Like we're giving you all these tools. Week 3, we're going to start that intermittent fasting and we can troubleshoot those things. I'm going to walk you through step by step how to use that Keto Mojo meter. And that is going to empower you again to know your own body specifically. We're going to do some diet variation. So you're not just going to dive in with the 5-day fast. We're going to try just 24 hours first. And you're going to be like, I can do this. Because when you're intermittent fasting properly, 24 hours, you're almost like, wait, what just happened? I didn't eat all day? I mean, it's amazing. Week 5, we're going to vary things. Metabolic mitochondrial fitness. Everybody say that 3 times fast. Like remember, it's a workout for our cells. And then we've got our week 6, the water fast. And then this is Titus. This is why we're here. And this is why we do what we do. Because this is the first generation of children not expected to outlive their parents. That's how sick we are. And we're getting sicker and there's more toxins every single day. There's more vaccinations in the pipeline. There's more pesticides on our food. I mean, this is something that if we don't make a change, like and it starts with us, right? If we don't make that change, we're going to lose loved ones. And I know from personal experience how health conditions, man, they rip you apart. They rip families apart. I mean, this is why we're here. Okay. So, how many of you guys want 2019 to be your best year? How many of you know you can do this? Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm so excited. So right now, remember when we talked about in the beginning, we talked about, have you known that you were supposed to do something and then you didn't do it? What happened? maybe nothing, or maybe it was terrible. And then have you known you were supposed to do something and then you did it? So everybody right now, I want you to just close your eyes and I want you to envision yourself completing this 7 weeks, and regardless of the results, regardless of whether you need to do 2 more or 22 more fasts, just picture your health changing. Picture your hormones optimizing, your stem cells are going where they need to go, your brain is clearing up, your vitality is coming back. Just picture that. Like, what does that feel like? Just soak it in. Think about who that person is and what that person is capable of. And what that person can do for their family. And what that person can do, I mean, just for your purpose and your passion. I want you to just lock on to that person that you see, because that's who you are. And so I'm hoping you'll join me on this journey. And if you want to, sign up at the front. We're going to figure this out together. We're going to meet on Mondays. We're going to give you all those tools. Yeah, I'm glad you all are here. So keep that picture in your mind. Write your affirmations. Let's do this together. Oh, and this is the book. Time out. I always forget like one thing. We're going to give you a workbook, okay? It's not just going to be like, hey, some information up here, and you're going to have to like viciously take notes to get everything. You have a workbook, okay? Every one of you will get one of these. There's some journaling. There's some charts. It's not just a recipe book. We talked about that in our call last week, where everyone's talking about sharing recipes, and I was like, stop. Does anyone hate to cook? Like, am I the only one that hates to cook? Like, I don't love it. Thank you. I don't love it, but we are going to give you those tools, and you'll have the opportunity, again, to take this book, put it in your tool bag, and you're going to use it for life. So thank you for being here. Thanks for being on here. Thank you, everybody, for your patience with all the technological difficulties. But I hope you got something out of it. And, yeah, we'll see you soon. So however we end this, let's see, stop share.
Christina asked, what
Oh,
are
yeah,
the
questions.
meetings? If I need more information before I sign up, can I come in on Monday to speak with Dr. Edmonds? What time is it?
Okay, the meetings will be on Monday at 6 p.m. And then when everybody that's registered is either on the call or gets there, hopefully like 6:15, we're going to get started. Okay, we'll get started. And yes, you can come and ask questions. You can come in, like if you're not here tonight and you want to sign up, give us your information because we want you to get this book. Okay, if you're out of town, we'll mail it to you. Okay, so but we just need to communicate. Make sure that you are on our mailing list. Like, did everybody get an email before you came? Anybody?
I think I did.
Okay. Just make sure, because that's how we'll communicate. But yeah, there shouldn't be any more snow days I mean, we should be free and clear there. But regardless, the cool thing is we're gonna have the Zoom calls, so I'll be here no matter what. And any other questions? Who's typing that? Who's typing that? Oh. That's Pastor Pat. Oh, yay. I thought it was Giselle, but it was like my computer is magically, he's sharing his screen. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Pastor Pat, for sharing with us as well. This is just going to help us take fasting to the next level. So we love you all, and we'll see you on Monday.
That's interesting. I've worked with that 2 times, actually. I've wondered that. I had a friend who she goes.
Oh, I know why.
Titus just woke
I
up.
have like no meeting. Titus! Hi, buddy! Oh, hi! Mommy will be home in a little bit. Yes. Can you wave? Wave to everybody.
Say hi. Say hi.
What do I have to do? Okay, there we go.
Christina wants to know, do you have to purchase something?
Can they still hear me? I think so. You do not have to purchase supplements. Typically, they're it's $187 for the whole package. We're going to be doing the package of 3 for $150. So the $197 includes your book and then all of the meetings that we will be together. But the supplements are separate, and no, you don't have to purchase them.
We're starting this Monday.
Yes, we are starting this Monday.
We might all be virtually.
Yeah, that'll be okay. Okay. Okay, so speaking of technology, our website, Giselle, will you go ahead and like text in the website? What you can do is you're going to go to Fast for Freedom, the number 4, and you're going to be able, you can use the PayPal link. The easiest thing is probably to call in and pay. And then when you register, we're going to get your name, your email, and then whatever your Facebook name is. And then we will add you to the special group. Yes, so it will be a private Facebook group so that we can build that community and share together. There, that's better. Does that answer? Okay.
She said, "When can I register on Monday when I come to get more information?"
Yes.
She can register at the
Yes. Yeah. If you come and get information, you're like, yep, I want to do this. Then you just register at the office. You get your book. You stay for the class, and we'll get launched with week 1. Can I help with any more?
I'm just kind of typing as the receipt.
Yeah. Okay. We have a really cool Tanita scale, and it shows us weight, hydration, your BMI, and then a rough estimate of your % body fat. If you would like to do that, you are more than welcome to. And this will be a really good thing to track because, reminder, we're going to do something different each week, and just to see how your body responds. That might be really good. But it's not something where, you would expect a huge amount of weight loss in the first 3 weeks. You know what? I take that back. I totally take that back, because if you start changing your carbs, you're going to start seeing some instant changes. Okay. All right. Great. We'll see you all soon. Thanks for being here.